Hello, good morning. I'm Bart from Ghent, and we're going to tell you how we work on accessibility in the city of Ghent. So I'm going to share my screen now to the PowerPoint. To a more accessible Ghent, this is how we work on accessibility in Ghent, a lot with people with disabilities. So we like to share our experiences on equal chances, equal work. Talk about the recruitment, not a lot on adaptations because we are working from home last year, like everyone, I think, last year. But I will start by telling work like this. Okay. So we are from Ghent. Ghent is the second biggest city of Flanders. That's part of Belgium. You see here our medieval castle, and it's even one of our biggest challenges for the next years because we want to make it accessible. There's going to be an elevator to the tower of the castle, but we have also attention to people with visual disabilities or deaf people. So this is our big challenge for the next years. So as I said, I am Bart. I'm the accessibility officer of the city of Ghent. Then we hear Sofie. She is our HR partner, and of course even Pauwels. He's our project manager accessibility and hired as someone with a disability. So Stephen is a wheelchair user. We have some experience on working with people with disabilities. We call them experience experts. We have about 20 people, our citizens of our city, but sometimes difficult to make an appointment, or not always everyone is on our council, on our experience council, as we call it. So we wanted to work more with people with disabilities. We try to do it in all our city policy areas. Here we were visiting a museum who want to work on accessibility. So at that time, I want to bring together some colleagues. Here I brought someone from the museum and some experience people with disabilities together. So that was a very nice cooperation. But again, it are external people from the city. So we were thinking on how we could work more with people with disabilities within the city. We have a building regulation, but also there, accessibility and all city buildings, it's easier said than done. It's a long-term work. And I thought, what if there were some people with disabilities on the reunions with the architects or with people who start an architectural project or something, so that within the starting moment we had people with disabilities involved in the process. So that was the idea. But also we got colleagues here. This is a colleague who has no disability, but we were trying to, as we said, let's pretend we have a disability, try things out. But we thought it wasn't that good because, here our colleague, because he doesn't have a disability, you see and you feel it that he doesn't have a disability. So we wanted to have real people with real disabilities in our team. So we made the charter on accessibility at the end of 2019, and it's called Working on an Accessible Ghent, even before the first step. So that's our main goal, how we want to work next year. So we're in the middle of working on that already. We signed it on 3rd of December in 2019 with these 5 principles. So we wanted to design for everyone. Let's call it universal design. We do this from the start to guarantee quality. That's very important. We detect weak links in the accessibility chain. So that's mainly what we do. We want to do this in co-creation with our group of experts by experience. That's what I told you, that we can, for people with disabilities, anytime we want. But the 5th, and this is what we want to talk now about, that first we do this by hiring someone with a disability. So that was very important in our chart. As we signed the charter, we got a lot of press, and even when we hired Stephen, we got a lot of press too. You see this photo we made on the same castle, and we call it toegankelijkheidsambtenaren. That's the Dutch word of accessibility officers. And we call it accessibility officers working on accessibility. It's a verb. It's something that we want to work on it for the next years. So that was the start of the cooperation. And now what we're doing, we're a lot in the field. These are new benches on the old harbor. We're going to test it out. We're inspiring colleagues by saying, this is good, this is not that good. And even if Stephen tells it, how we experience it together, they really listen to they see that something is good, something is not good. So we're very glad to have Stephen in our team now. So we're still working. We're working on it to a more accessible Ghent. So, and now I give the word to Sofie Jacobs, our HR partner, and then Stephen Pauwels, our new project manager, will take the word also. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Bart, and hello everyone. My name is Sofie Jacobs and I work at the City of Ghent as an HR partner. Me and Bart, we also recruited Steven for the job as project manager accessibility, and I will give some more information about the job hiring process. So I'm going to start with the recruitment and application phase. After that, I will give some more information about the interview process, and later on, Steven will give some more information about the start at his new job. So in the recruitment phase, we always start with posting the job on our job site. And as you can see at the image, we use our own employees as ambassadors for working at the City of Ghent. We don't use stock photos, so it's really pleasant to see that a lot of the employees are really proud about the City of Ghent as their employer. And what we truly want to see is that our ambassadors are diverse and equally diverse as the citizens of the City of Ghent. But not only the citizens, but maybe the visitors of the City of Ghent, that when they use some of our services or they visit one of our buildings, that they really recognize themselves and that they truly feel safe in our environment, and that we stand for the diversity and inclusion that we have to offer as a city. Next to the job site, we also have a Facebook channel and a LinkedIn channel where we give a sneak peek behind the scenes what it is like working for the City of Ghent. So you see here Mohammed and Donny, and we really focus next to the job postings on the social media. Also, we give the story behind the ambassador. What is he like? How is his job? But also, what is his story of life? So we really notice a lot of buzz and likes, and that implicit generates new candidates for our jobs. Next to the social media, we also send the jobs to a list of organizations who really coach people around diversity. So for the job of accessibility project manager, we also contacted the organizations that really coach people with a disability. So now I'm going to give some more information about the application process. Afterwards, the adaptations, the first step, job interview, and then the start at the new job. So when someone sees a job they really love or like, people can apply for the job, but through that application in the first file that they see next to the name and your birth dates, you can acknowledge that you have a disability, and you can give, if you want to, you don't have to, give your adaptations needed and give some more information about your disability at that moment. After that, it's also important to know, when you tick off the box of disability, we will properly communicate this with you at the job interview. So we will have a proper conversation about what is your disability, what are the adaptations you really need, so that we can see what is the match with the current vacancy. So the adaptations, what we truly believe in is not a world of equality, but a world of equity. So we don't believe that there's one adaptation for all people who are wheelchair needed, who are really, we don't believe in one size fits all. So we really believe in the universal design of adaptations. So we offer an ear to the people, and it's really important to listen to what the adaptations are that they need. So based on their personal needs, I listed some examples of the adaptations here, but this list is not limited. But the only thing that's truly important is that these adaptations need to be reasonable for the job application that they are doing. So for the job from accessibility process project manager, we also tried something new for the universal design based on the human resources. So we thought that it would be nice to test some things so that we could use our selection steps in another way, that people would get the assignment of the step, but that they could decide which way they would perform the assignment, so that it would be a way that would be the best for them. So in the first step, everybody was invited for an elevator pitch. So in their invitation, there already was an assignment, and it was, we told them to tell us something more about themselves and to really focus on their strengths, their ambitions, what job they would like at the city of Ghent. So they could do that through a resume, but we also saw candidates with a portfolio, really creative, or a short movie about themselves, or people who talked about the employee instead of the employee talking about themselves. So it was really fun to see, and we really had some great feedback about that process, because people said a lot of the times when you are open about a disability, the only focus goes through that way, and we wanted to focus on the strengths, not on the weaknesses, but we don't see a disability as a weakness. If you can use it as your own strength, or we can find great adaptations for you on the job, then we will have a great match for the job and the team. But what's truly important for us is the open conversation about disability, about adaptations, work regime, etc. So we also ask questions like, what do you truly need when you can start at the job to function optimally, properly? And people will talk about workspaces, tasks that they can do, can't do, a large team, a small team, maybe a cockpit where they could focus on certain tasks. So the options are unlimited. After that, we decide who can go further to the next step. So we truly also do this competency base. So we check some things off with the whole jury. And after that, we decide who goes further to the job interview. Beforehand, in the job interview, people get a case that is sent home and it resembles an assignment that they would have to do at the job itself. So all the candidates get the same assignment and we just give it the assignment, it's one page with a lot of information and we ask some things. So we ask them to make a plan for a certain team, but they can choose the way they will present this assignment. So they can choose for Word, Excel, a paper, PowerPoint. Some people even made a little movie also about it. So the assignment is the same, but people can solve the assignment the way that is certain or the best for them. After this assignment and the presentation of it, we also ask the candidates the same competency-based questions, and we also ask for examples of the past if they can give us a good example of certain competencies. After that, we decide who has the best job fit, team fit, but also who scores the highest on the competencies. People who aren't the best candidate are, succeeded. They come in a certain talent pool, which we can use for other functions afterwards. So people don't have like a bad news story. They can properly be used for this assignment. So, and the final result for the project manager accessibility is that we selected Steven, and he will now talk about his experience as in the new function. Thank you.
Thank you, Sofie. And no, I'm not Leonardo DiCaprio, but my name is Steven Pauwels. I'm the project manager accessibility. And as Sofie explained, a wheelchair user. It was a very nice and pleasant experience for me, the job application. It was very customized. In my situation, there wasn't a lot of things that had to be altered because I'm in a wheelchair, but everybody had the possibility to make changes to make the job interview as easy as they want. That took away a lot of stress in previous situations. When I applied for a job and I mentioned that I'm in a wheelchair, I sometimes didn't even get invited for a job interview. So some people still are afraid of giving jobs to people with a disability. It took away stress for me because I noticed that they were focusing on the content and not the fact that I'm in a wheelchair. Although the wheelchair is very important for the job, the focus was on my abilities to be a good project manager. There had to be some small changes, modifications to the building where the office is. As you can see, there is a little step. There was a small ramp on it, but they changed the pavement, so it was much easier for me to get in the building. At the working place, the office, they didn't have to make many changes for me. I can sit on a normal desk, as I said. And we are looking for a solution for the doors that are quite heavy. Accessibility is a topic that I work on, so I can use all my experience, and I'm an experienced expert, not on an academical level, but my experience from the daily use of the city, the streets, the buildings. And I noticed that the colleagues from other services listen to me very carefully, because they can actually see the needs when I ask for a solution. It's very differently than when an elderly person asks for the same question or solution. With me, they can see the need and they see the problems that I have to get into the building, to get on a bus, to get through the city or on the streets. So I think diversity and inclusion in working spaces and jobs is very important. And I would like to thank the City of Ghent for this opportunity to give me the job. And I would like to thank you for your attention.